Hello. So C Sharp 11 string is really cool. So when next time your coworker, your colleague or any other programmer asks you to implement the code in raw literals, understand they are talking about this C Sharp 11 new string. Now, if you go to the Microsoft official document, here you will see that something called raw literals. Now, why they are calling it raw literals? Because this string can handle any sort of raw data. Think about any format, whether CSV, HTML, XML, JSON, whatever you can think, you can write down within this new string. Now, there are two types of string then. One is called normal string, second is called raw literals, right? So if you wanted to do normal activities, put that inside normal string, which is starting from single double quote and ending with single double quote, and between those two double quote you have to place your whole text, your string. But this raw string, raw literals, starting from three double quotes ending with three double quotes, and between those three double quotes you have to add your raw data, your string, whatever you wanted to place. There are some rules that you have to remember while implementing this new string. Okay, so now let's jump into the code and take a deep look about all those things. This is my console application, but this console application I have built in .NET 6, and that is why you see this program class where there is no main method. Without main method, I can write down whatever logic I want, right? So that is .NET 6. Now, before I jump into this C Sharp 11 feature class that we are going to talk today, I can show you that this is only implemented in C Sharp 11, right? And how I was able to make it, I have to create C Sharp 11 project. And what I have done for that, if I can show you over here, right? C Sharp 11, this node I have added explicitly lang version 11.0 to support my project as a C Sharp 11. So in case you face some issue in your project that why it is not working, just check that what version your C Sharp is. If not, if you don't have the C Sharp 11 version, you can add this node and your problem will get resolved. Okay, now let's close this. And one more thing, so C Sharp 11 was this project. This project is still using older version than C Sharp 11, right? And you don't see any that lang version explicitly. So that is the difference. Okay, so now let's go to C Sharp 11 feature, this library, and you will see I have lot of methods already created. So what we are going to do today, we are going to talk about single string, multi-line string, and interpolated string, right? So these are the three things that this raw literal support. Okay, so first of all, the new string start with three double quotes that we just talked. So if I can say three double quote, let's remove this from here and let's add here. You see, it is not complaining anything because this is C Sharp 11 version project, right? This project. But if I go to this application, right, and if I try to write down over here, let's say here, that three double quotes, here you go, and write down something, you will see this project is complaining, and you can see feature raw string literals. See, I told you raw literals. So raw string literals is not available in C Sharp 10.0. that means I'm using this C Sharp 10 project. That is why I don't see this as it is working fine, right? And it is suggesting me also please use language version 11.0 or greater. Okay, hence prove that this is something called raw string literals, right? Three double quotes, and it only support in 11.0 or greater than 11.0, right? Okay, now let's just undo that part. Let me undo this. Come on, undo quickly. Okay, it is done. Okay, now go back to the old string. Let's remove this first. We wanted to focus on the old string. I can show you the problem and then we will jump to why they have implemented such things. Okay, so if you look at this, I named it escape char, right? But I have not put any escape char. Well, in the old string, which is starting from this single double quote, there you can't put any escape character like this, right? If you write down something like this, you will see it is complaining. It says that unrecognized escape sequence, right? And to resolve this issue, what we were doing before, we have to add this at the rate, and after that it will start working, right? But now what it says, C sharp 11 string raw literal string says, or raw string literal says, you can add like this, 3 double quotes here and 3 double quotes at the end, and your problem got resolved. You don't have to do any at the rate now, right? But it's not like that, just because to solve this issue, this escape character issue, Microsoft has introduced something called raw string literal. That is not like that, right? Now let's go there. So first let's focus over single string. What it means, right? Why I'm calling it single string? So single string means anything that is written in single line, right? So that is something called single string. Now if you look over this, everything is written in single line, right? But if I try to break it into multiple lines, will it work, right? With 3 double quotes, is it going to work? Let's see. I'm going to break this format, this HTML format, into after head into multiple lines. Here you go. It start crying, right? It started crying that it can't do this job. Here you go. The type or namespace head could not be found. Maybe it's just misleading, right? But for sure compiler saying that I don't know what you are writing. And at the initial video I said that whatever you can write, just think of and write down, it will accept. Then why it is not working, right? Because of this single string. Anything that is starting after these 3 double quotes, that means this. You see, right after 3 double quotes, we are writing the line, writing the string, and that is something called single string. So now Microsoft says if you start something over this, after this, you have to make everything in single line, right? Otherwise it says that I won't work. Here you go. See, now it is happy. That is something called single string. Now how we can achieve that, right? Because that was the whole goal. Any sort of format, anything, any raw data I can write down. So there is a birth of multi-line string. If I go over there, here you go. You see, I have written complete JSON format. But how? This is multi-line. Starting from here, ending here, but not right after this. I'm adding the new line to write down my raw data. And that is something called multi-line string, right? Now let me show you the output, right? So the way the expectation is in the same format I should be able to receive. So what I will do, let's copy this. Let's go to my program class and I will print down I will call this method get multi-line string. Now let's see how it behaves. Okay, so it is, okay, here you go, right? You see, it is printed in the same format, right? The way we have written, I can see the same thing. Okay, that is perfect, right? So it is working fine. Okay, so this is something called raw literal string. But how about before C sharp 11.0, how we were writing that, right? One thing, if I can show you over here, this multi-line string, here you go. You see, for sure I have to add the rate, and now you can write down this double quote, right? But there is one more catch here that I will show you. Let me print down this or return this. Now I will print down this so I can show you even it was working before or not. Let's console app run and come on, here you go. You see, it has displayed the same thing. Then what's so big deal, man? I can still go with at the rate. Why I have to do this raw literal string? Okay, now there is one more thing. How about this format, right? Can I write down that inside that normal string? Let's try that. Let's try that. Now we know that I can use add the rate. Let's use add the rate. Here you go. You see, it is not working, right? Because there is a double quotes, right? So one way, you have to add more complexities. So before you can, write down here this double string. Here you go. You see, it start making color change. Now you see everywhere, right? If you will change the color, it should work. Here you go. You see, that is happy, and same thing here, right? So this is fine because I have only 2 lines. I was able to make the changes. What if I have multiple lines? Then in that case it would be a little hard. So that is why we can use this raw literals to write raw string. This is the one use case we can write down a raw literals, right? So it is not JSON format, any format, HTML, CSV, whatever you can think of, just write down. Okay, now there is one more thing. So here you see over this, This was something for sure, we use when we have to use some dynamic value, right? This should be some dynamic value. But with these three double quotes, as you know, everything is static, right? The way you will write, the same way you will receive. That is why, if I can show you the output here, this is the old output. Let me run, call this and show you one more time. So paste it here, execute, and you see value dot length. What if I have to make it dynamic, right? What I have to do? So now let's minimize this. Now there is a birth of interpolated string, right? So this is one of the method that I have created down, and you will see there is something called double dollar sign, right? Before the string interpolation was just single, right? This one. But now Microsoft says you can use double dollars with three double quotes, right? That means double dollar with raw string literals, and you can make it dynamic, right? Now you see I'm passing this parameter, this length, and I'm using here. Now let's call it over there and let's see how it behaves. I will pass value 100,000 actually, right? I've written 1000, so let's focus on 1000 now. Let's run this and let's see if it works or it throws some exception. Here you go. You see 1000, right? It is working perfectly fine. So that means it has targeted the goal of this raw literal is to, first of all, handle this escape character and then raw data, and it has, something called this string interpolation, double string interpolation. With the help of, combination of the string interpolation and raw literals, you can make your static raw data into dynamic, right? Now there are some rules that we have to remember. It's not that you can use it whatever way you want. No, that is not true. Now let me show you couple of the rules that you need to remember while implementing it. And you know what, one more thing before I jump over that rule that I'm talking, it can handle space also. So if I add this like this space, it will show you the same way the spaces also. So let me print that as well. I think I can't show you. Here you go. These are those spaces. So for better thing, what I will do, I will write down something like this here, and now it will give more clear understanding. So now let's see. Here you go. You see, so that means it is counting spaces also, right? So how many spaces you add, it will print as it is, because that is why what you see is what you get, right? Whatever you can see here, same would be the output. Okay. Now the rule that I'm talking, so focus over this rule, right? So let's close this actually, because there is some string interpolation. Let's not complicate it. Okay, here you go. So this one, right? So if you wanted to, starting from, for example, this starting from here, right? And we can see it ends at the same line, right? This, you see this vertical line ends at the proper place, same line. What if I wanted to, end at little early? Will it work? I think it is working fine, right? Because I don't see any complaint. And let's rebuild also. So I think it is working fine, right? 2 succeeded, 0 failed. Okay, that means fine. How about if I place after this, will it work? Here you go. You see it start complaining. So that means this is very important, right? Either you can place it before, right? Before this, like here it is happy, but it is saying if you go beyond me, I'm not going to accept that. You have to be with me, only then I will support you. I will support raw literals, right? So you have to be either with this. So this is like very jealous guy. It says either stay with me or walk behind me, right? Then I'm happy. If you go ahead of me, I'm not going to accept that, right? Because I'm very jealous. Just stay with me, man. We will grow together, right? So that is something this is saying, right? Jealous raw string literals. You can name it jealous raw string literals. So one more rule. So first rule that we got to know, that it can't go ahead of this space, right? The second rule is that over here it can't end at the end of the string. You see, so that is something also illegal. It is not accepting, right? So those are the two rules you can remember while working with raw literals. Okay, so that's all for today's video. I will see you in the next video.